Welcome to the Money Mentors Podcast.
This podcast is for you. So if you have a retirement question you'd like us to address, reach out to us online anytime at matsonfinancial.com. If you haven't assessed where you are financially after kind of a wild start to this year with the markets, it might be a good time to take this mid-year temperature check. Not with the weather. I mean, we all know it's been hot, right? But
passing out. Yeah, it's so hot.
But this week we do have some suggested steps for that summer financial checkup. I thought we'd go through some of these with you because I know you're doing this with your clients as part of their regular checkups. Now, number one on our list here is, think about this. Track maybe your net worth or at least go through your account balances right now. I like to do this because sometimes, honestly, Corey, Laurel, at this point in my saving life, sometimes it's easy to lose track of just how many accounts I have. So sometimes it's good just to kind of take that inventory of where all these things are and, how your investments are doing too.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe the amount of clients that we sit down with and through the process they realize there's accounts out there that they had completely forgotten about or that they didn't realize were there, old employer accounts that were set up for them by somebody else, all that kind of stuff. So it just makes life a lot easier to keep track of that and do those checkups every once in a while instead of waiting till you're ready to use those funds and then you realize that now you have to track them all down. Sometimes calling these companies to find out where they're at or what the balances is, you're sitting on hold for 3 hours and it's just kind of a nightmare if you're not tracking that stuff over time.
For sure.
Yep, and I just had a conversation actually with somebody last week, who was scheduling a first appointment to get to know us and have that complimentary review. And they had said, the reason is because I have 3 401ks. My husband has 3 401ks. We have a pension. We're wondering, where are we at, right? We need that pulse check on everything. And the best part is like Corey was saying, we help you with all of this. So instead of you having to call and get all of this information, that tedious work, and I guarantee you're going to get through 1 or 2 of them, and then you're not going to do it for another 6 months.
Yep.
So let us help you get organized so you can see where really are you tracking? How much more time do you need to spend working? Or, hey, maybe it's time to retire.
Yeah, after you've added it all up, a lot of times people over the years have come into Matson Financial Services and found that out by just doing that inventory. So sometimes it's a really pleasant surprise by the time you add everything up here. Now, another thing you might want to do here at the mid-year point in 2025 is bump up your retirement savings. I have a feeling with some of the market volatility, maybe some people took a step back on that in the first half of the year. But actually, if you take advantage of some of these market downturns, it might be a good time to bump up those retirement savings.
Yeah, if you're in your savings years, then I wouldn't let some short-term volatility in the market affect what you're putting away because you're going to get that dollar cost averaging. You're going to get some money into the markets while they're down and while it's coming back up, and it's going to work out for you better in the long run. But what I also tell a lot of my younger clients who are still working is, most of the time we're getting some kind of raise or something throughout the year, and anytime you get a raise, bump up that retirement savings too. Don't put the whole raise into the retirement savings and not give yourself a little bump as well. But each time I always recommend at least somewhat raising those contributions so that you can stop working earlier or spend the money you want to spend in retirement.
Number 3 here, this is a biggie. Pay off that high interest debt. And interest rates are pretty high right now. So this is worth spending some time on.
Oh, yeah. And this is what eats, right? This is like the silent killer throughout things because you almost can't keep up if you're only making those minimum payments. I just saw something in a credit card the other day that came in the mail that's saying like, hey, you went from 26.99 APR to guess what? It's like 34.99 now. So
wow.
It's only going up. And we talk about it a lot that there's good debt and bad debt. And obviously this high interest debt is attributed to that negative side. So how can you make sure you're tackling that before it tackles you? And then you can make sure you're putting money away to those savings so you have a better plan in the future.
When we talk about debt, like Laurel mentioned, there is 2 different kinds of debt. So I like to emphasize, I just met with a potential client and the spouses were kind of arguing. The husband really wanted to focus on putting as much money as possible into paying off their house.
Okay.
But they had bought their house in 2020. I think their interest rate was like 2.5%. And when you have
so good.
Yeah, when you have that low of interest rate, you can probably expect to make more than 2.5% in the market. So it's not always the best idea to stop contributing to the retirement accounts and focus on paying off the really low debt when you would earn more on those dollars and put them to work for you in a better way by investing them.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Taylor talking about my husband here with somebody when interest rates were shifting, a couple years ago. And because we were seeing a home interest rate of 12 or 14%, and they hadn't refinanced it. And so this is what our team does. Corey talked about it, right? He gave his examples. But we don't just talk about your investments. There are so much more that we go into, and we absolutely look at what types of debts are you taking on? How can we help you reposition that and take advantage of what's out there? So if your advisor isn't talking to you about those different strategies, that's something we can help you with complimentary as well.
And you can actually schedule that chat right there on our website at matsonfinancial.com. We'll tell you more in just minutes here about how you can come into and meet with your money mentors in person and go over some of these things with them in person. Next on our list here for this mid-year financial checkup is rebalance your portfolio, especially important in a year when we've had some of this market volatility.
Yeah, I think the volatility is kind of the new normal now going forward, especially when there's volatility. That's the time where you don't, as much as you used to be able to, want to just buy and hold things. You're going to find that your accounts do much better if you have someone there managing those assets for you, buying when you need to buy, selling when you need to sell, moving around between different types of investments, being able to capture gains when the markets are up so that you don't lose all those gains when the markets go down. It's a lot more about strategy now than it used to be. We are most likely not going to see the markets just constantly going up, up, up every day like we did for a few years there. And again, work with somebody like us at Matson where we're constantly looking at these portfolios. We're constantly making changes, constantly doing what we need to do to make sure, again, that your goals are still going to be reachable regardless if the markets are changing or not.
Absolutely. So important. And again, they keep an eye on it for you so that you don't have to worry so much about it, especially when things do get volatile. Next, I'm going to lump a couple of these on this list together here because we are in that second half of the year here now. So maybe think about starting a gift or a holiday savings account, and then maybe start thinking about mapping out your charitable giving plan for the rest of this year because the holidays will be here before you know it.
Oh, yeah. And so will all the deals.
Right.
And you got to make sure you're ready for them, right? But that's something we work with our clients on because everybody's so different on what their holiday plans look like. But there's nothing better than getting ahead of it now and planning for it because what Corey was just talking about with volatility, then you have this plan. This is what we do all the time is you make sure you have money set aside for that certain goal. So no matter what happens, whether that's the volatility, something crazy with tariffs again, this, that, and the other thing, there's always going to be something, but it doesn't matter because you already had this plan in place over here. And same with your charitable giving. A lot of those deadlines are year end. However, a lot of the custodians out there, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, etc., they've got deadlines in November. And they do that because everybody else is flooding in with their requests. So hopefully you're on that list to get processed through that long laundry list, but they also can't guarantee it. So be proactive. That's what we do here at Matson Financial. Start talking about that. If you tithe to your church, let's be smarter about it from a tax strategy perspective. If you're 70 and a half and you can do some qualified charitable distributions, right? Whatever we can do to alleviate the tax burden, but making sure your giving is in place and your savings are in place, that's the key.
Well, next on our list here is think about your expenses and let's think about how they've changed this year with inflation and everything else, tariffs and the like. I'm pretty sure a lot of budgets have probably gone up, haven't they?
Yeah, that's one that can get away from you a little bit too when you're not paying attention to it. We're not all balancing checkbooks anymore.
Sure.
We're just kind of letting our bank take care of that for us. So
I love my checkbook still, but I have my own kind of balancer. But right, who uses that much anymore? So
yeah. They're going to change throughout the year. I mean, I've had 2 children in the last 5 years, so expenses have gone up a lot during that time. But if you're not keeping tabs on it, you don't want to get to the point where you've racked up debt or something like that before you realize that you're overspending and now you're going to put all your effort into just getting back to where you need to be instead of, going where you want to go and saving for retirement. So definitely keep tabs on those expenses.
And look at your subscriptions. That's one that really adds up because you sign up for it and right, it's an automatic re-enrollment monthly or what have you. So take a look. One of the things that we do, it's not fun to do outside of work after kids are to bed and all of those things. So try to find a time like you would much make an appointment and sit down with, if you have a spouse, and start going over that. If that's something that's just on you and you're managing that, find a time blocked on your calendar, because you will keep kicking that can down the road if you don't.
Also, this time of year, think about, if you haven't already, set up those annual health checkups. It's important not just to think about your financial health, but your actual health as well, right?
Yeah, and that's something where we focus on health and wealth, and we have a whole health solutions side of our company, because we want to make sure that they're all communicating. And you got to take care of yourself, right? Likely when our clients come in, for the first time and meeting with us, it's probably the healthiest they're going to be at. And we want to help them maintain that to then live out their dreams, goals, and desires, what they've talked about with us, making sure they're taking the trips with the families and all of those things. So you got to keep up on your health. So make sure you don't let that one go away. Call your doctor today, because likely you can't get in next week either. So make that a priority.
Want weekly lessons from your money mentors? Yes. Hit the subscribe button now and listen every weekend on Wood Radio.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Fee-based financial planning and investment services are offered by Matson Financial Services, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Lakeview Financial Group, LLC, Matson Financial Services, LLC, and Lakeview Financial Group are affiliated. To find out if Matson Financial Services is licensed in your state, please call 800-536-8907.